Action! Welcome to another amazing podcast episode of the Action Podcast. This is Movie News, episode 4. What?
Well, I wasn't sure. I mean, the way you were going through that whole progression,
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if it's a action podcast, is it a movie news?
Action Podcast, just so our audience is aware. Action Podcast is the channel, and then you have specific
It's
podcast.
the brand. I didn't realize this was a movie news.
Yes, that's what we branched off differently. So before everything just been Action
Right.
Podcast, but now it's Action Podcast, and then just in case anybody really cares,
Whatever it is, I'm here. So,
Yeah. It's just
We're gonna
I'm trying to categorize all this stuff.
either way, we're going to dominate. It's all good.
Absolutely. So, of course, this is our Oscars edition. We have the nominations are in. Just came out yesterday, I believe, or today. Yesterday. Came out yesterday.
Yeah, that's
Came out Tuesday for a date reference. And yeah, so we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly with all of it. And we'll try not to make it too repetitive compared to, because we did the Golden Globes one. And so, but because the Oscars have their categories a little bit different, I think it does lead to a lot of intrigue and discussion. So we'll get into that.
Well,
We'll start. Oh, go ahead.
it's just crazy that the Golden Globes are supposed to be sort of almost a precursor in theory.
Or not at
to
all.
No. But I mean, this is how they're set up to be, right? They set up the Golden Globes. The only reason for the Golden Globes is to set up some sort of progression towards the main event, which is the Oscars. And the Oscars aren't, the critics' choice. They're not the foreign press. Like, the Oscars are supposed to be like the top dog. Like, these are the top movies, the top performances, the top visual effects of everything that you've seen.
Yeah.
And they go head to head and determine who's the best of the year. I am absolutely shocked this year by what I've seen in terms of the nominations themselves, and we'll go through them. However, I will just say on the onset, Saltburn and Air got zero love, and those are like some of the best movies that I think I've seen all year long.
And the Covenant didn't get any
And The
love.
Covenant,
I mean, there's a lot of
Zero.
films that get love. I felt
nothing.
but honestly, it's not that uncommon. And I know we like to think this is like the Super Bowl of film, where it's the best compete and then the winner takes it. But what it's still very important to wrap your head around is, end of the day, this is very subjective. These are people voting. These are partly peers voting. So people have their preferences of what they want. Like, there's a lot of times where, definitely in the years past, where a movie will win Best Picture and no one even really likes the movie, but it's just this. It's like, yep, you have to vote for this film because it's what everyone's talking about, but it's not the best movie, and so that's, unfortunately, that's what always makes these controversial, is because it's not the best person wins or the best film wins. It's, what's the trendy topic, or the, whatever it is. It's, so at the end of the day,
I feel like this year lessened the value of the Oscars slightly. I mean, they got a lot of things right. They got a ton. Like, let's just say they got 95% right, but the 5% that they missed in each category, if you took everything collectively, the 5% that they missed out on this year, I think accounts for $2 to $3 billion in revenue that people actually went and saw in an industry that is going downhill in terms of movie theater viewings. Like, they just completely ignored people that were supposed to be responsible for this success of the industry this year.
Are you talking about Transformers: Rise of the Beast, Pete?
You figured it out, Paul. That's exactly what I'm talking about. They've completely ignored Transformers 3.
Yeah, that's the big shocker, guys. Spoiler alert, that's the big shocker missing from this year's Oscars.
Let's go through the categories because I have clear opinions.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so obviously we're going to start with Best Picture, Pete. We're not holding punches here.
Right.
And a good list, not a great list, but a good list of nominees. Here
Hmm.
are the nominees: American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall,
Hmm. Hmm.
Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer,
Yep.
Past Lives, Poor Things, The Zone of Interest. So, what I do like about the Best Picture category is the fact that they've expanded it. I'm glad we don't just have to pick from five.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they expanded it because there are some films very deserving to be on this list, and they are on it.
It's almost like they recognize that there are 10 films of this year that are super great, and let's at least acknowledge them.
yeah.
Best
Let,
Picture, it's tough to be
let
upset about those.
yeah, let's start. We're gonna start positive, Pete, then we'll go into our nitpicking. But
Yeah.
first of all, who is your favorite to win it all?
Um, I
Who
mean, I think
not who you want to win, who you think will win. Well, who
uh,
you think, then who
sure.
you want.
I think the answer is the same. I think it's Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer is going to win Best Picture this year. They're the one. It's the movie that's supposed to win,
Yeah,
and they were supposed to win from July or whenever that movie came out. That's when it was sort of almost predetermined.
yeah, I agree with you. I do want
There were some
Oppenheimer to be
great
good.
films, but
Yeah, it's just the best complete film.
yeah,
Because again, even like Oppenheimer compared to Kills of the Flower Moon, we both talked about it. It's just that's now available on streaming. I'm watching it again, and it's still just like, man, this movie is just so long. Like all this stuff is just unnecessary. And yeah,
I
but
mean, the only second place, like the only thing that's going to actually challenge this, I
Maestro,
think, yes, in terms of the Oscar people, is
yeah,
Maestro. Although Barbie should be number two because of just the value of that movie.
yeah,
Um, I think the only thing that's actually legitimately gonna challenge Oppenheimer in the Oscar world is Maestro for sure, because that was what a stunning film. Good
yeah,
Lord. It was so good.
yeah. Like I'm good with him. So okay, so next Pete, we'll go with who are you good with, and then who you're not good with. So I'll do it just so you can see what I'm talking about, and then you can do yours. So
Yes,
I'm good with American Fiction. I think that was a good film. I'm glad it's nominated. It's a different type of film, but I loved it. Good story, good characters. I'm
right.
good with that one. Anatomy of a Fall, a very good foreign film, but it's very interesting in how it's made, and I was interested in it, and I do want to see it again. I think that's a key to me wanting a Best Picture. Do I
That's
want to
always
see
your
this
thing.
movie again?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's your
to me,
thing.
it's pretty simple. Barbie, absolutely. I think it definitely deserves it. The Holdovers, another movie I want to watch again, but
Another fantastic movie.
yeah, Alexander Payne, great job, but really great performances. Loved it. Killers of the Flower Moon. Again, I know it's very easy to say Martin Scorsese, it's great, and I love the beginning of it, but again, just that middle act is just so rough. And again, I think the story was wrong in terms of this was not a Leonardo DiCaprio starring piece. That character to me, the movie wasn't about him. This movie was about Lily Gladstone, and they because Leonardo was attached to it, they went the wrong direction. And it has nothing to do with Leonardo DiCaprio. This literally has nothing to do with him. I liked his performance, but I think the character itself, with this story that they're trying to tell, he was not. It was really about Robert De Niro's character and Lily Gladstone, and and Leonardo DiCaprio was a side character that they made a bigger character because it's Leonardo DiCaprio, and I think that was a
Yeah.
mistake. Uh,
Yeah, I didn't see I really didn't understand the hype behind this movie. I let me rephrase. I understood the hype behind the movie, and then I saw the movie, and then I was like, wow, that was really hyped up a lot. And
yeah,
I think that this movie suffers, even though according to the awards world, it's not suffering at all. I think that this movie would have had more impact and actually challenged Oppenheimer for Best Picture had it been edited for theatrical and then released as a full-time extended director's cut on streaming later on. And I stole that from one Paul Escarcega from a previous podcast.
yeah, absolutely. Good person to quote. What I always another aspect is I challenge you, if you disagree with the part of the thing that we're saying that's too long, blah blah blah, I want you to watch that movie tonight. Then tomorrow morning,
On
watch
Apple.
it, watch it again. Watch it again. Watch it tonight, then tomorrow morning, watch it again. If you do not want to watch it tomorrow morning, I'm sorry, then there's something missing. But Oppenheimer, I can watch tonight and I can watch it again tomorrow morning.
Watch it. I can watch it.
Barbie, I can watch
Yep.
tonight and
I can watch
tomorrow.
it 7 more times easily.
American Fiction, even I can watch tonight. I would watch it again tomorrow. Anatomy of Fall, I can probably do that. Holdovers, the same.
I
Maestro,
could I could even watch
that
Past
one.
Lives multiple times, even though I don't believe it's a best picture of the year. I understand the significance of the movie and the value of the movie. I
Which
don't
movie?
think
I
it's
missed the name.
Past Lives. I think it's a
Oh,
great I think it's a great movie. I don't think it's one of the best of the year. I know it's been getting a
I
lot
haven't
of
seen that. I it wasn't even. I don't even think it was released in our.
it's a great idea and it's really well done and the performances are really good. I might just convince myself that it actually does deserve to be on this list because
I
every
need to
time I
watch it.
talk about it out loud, everything about it is super great. All right, ignore me. Past lives, I'm down with it being on the list.
Okay, so where did I leave off? Maestro. Yes, absolutely. Maestro deserves to be on it. Oppenheimer, of course. Past Lives. I haven't seen it. Honestly, I haven't heard a ton about it until this award season, but it's not on streaming. It's not, and so if does a tree fall in a forest, does it really make a noise? That's where I'm with that. You know what I mean?
Well, past lives is tricky and it's well done, well acted, well performed, well shot.
But at
The
least like
idea,
Saltburn, at least on Saltburn, it was available. Like it had a very small theatrical window, but then it was available Amazon Prime like right after that. Like my question is, why isn't Past Lives on a streaming service, or why haven't I heard it from the streamers if this movie's so great? Because I know Oppenheimer is coming to Peacock February 12th.
well,
I
because we're
exactly
in
when Killers of the Flower Moon was on.
sure,
So
but
that's my only issue.
we're in a transitional period of how we view content right now, right? And
No,
so
I get it.
I don't think that we need to really talk about this at this moment.
No, we're moving on. Poor Things. I would say yes, because this is the to me, you always get like one film or maybe two where it's like this is a different type of a film. It's experimental, avant-garde type of a film. And I want to make sure those films get applauded for that kind of originality and things of that
Right.
nature. And I think that that falls into it. It's
I
not my
call
favorite film, but
Yeah, I call Poor Things. I call it the Woody Allen nomination, where
yeah,
you have to throw in a nomination for the people who love Woody Allen movies because we, as normal movie lovers, just don't understand the intent behind that movie and the message behind that movie, and
like a Wes
stu-
Anderson film,
because we're stupid,
like
Paul.
like the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yes,
Like
we're not
I didn't get that
sophisticated
one.
enough to understand a
I'm
proper
not. I'm gonna
story.
I'm gonna call myself out. I'm not.
You
And then
understand,
lastly, Zone of Interest. The same thing as Past Lives.
right?
I've literally watched all the movies, like literally 90% of the movies that have, and I haven't even heard about it when it's released. Nothing. So unfortunately, if I can't see you, I don't know you exist.
Right.
But so with that, the two movies I would say I would want to see on this list is Air 100%. I think we already talked about it. This movie got extremely snubbed from many categories. So you're going to hear a lot of Air from me tonight. And then The Covenant. I still believe that this film was great. And this is a great Guy Ritchie film. And the story needs to be honored and told. And I thought it was really well done. And again, you want to talk about one of the most entertaining films there. You know what actually should also be nominated? And I know this is not, happy Academy talk, but
Say
Mission
it.
Impossible. What Mission Impossible did in an action film
Yeah.
on number 7 or 8, like
Wow.
name a better 7 or 8 film in a series than Mission Impossible. P, I dare you.
It's not Fast and the Furious 7, I'll tell you
No,
that much right
it,
now.
it, it can't
It's
compete
not
with.
Saw 7, I'll tell you that much right now.
Yeah,
No, I agree. And I was happy to see that Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 got some at least acknowledgement from the Academy on
Yeah.
I believe it was visual
Visual
effects.
effects. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and you knew
Spoiler
that
alert for those that were wanting to linear.
sorry to spoil the end of this podcast by
Yeah.
revealing one of the nominees
Yeah.
of special effects. Yeah, it's a weird year. I mean, the point is that,
There's a lot of people chucking beer cans right now, Pete.
right. Oh,
Damn
just darn it, Peter. Just ruined everything.
it. Yeah.
There's just so many great performances and films that are ignored by the Academy constantly, and it's like you 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 want to break out of that old Oscar cycle at some point in your lives where you don't just look at a Poor Things and go, this is the best movie that we can possibly focus on, and we can't focus on anything else. And I'm not
Well, I think
picking
that's what
on.
Barbie, to me, that's where Barbie and Top Gun Maverick, even last year, I
Yeah.
do, I do see some evolution. But I still think there's movies, again, like a Mission Impossible, that is so good in so many different areas. And again, name me someone that didn't see it. You know what I mean? And it's like, how many people saw Past Lives, but then how many people saw like that does mean something, because if people don't want to see your movie, then how can it be great? Like, this isn't a student film festival. This is you're if people don't want
The
to watch like a
Oscars.
book, if nobody wants to read
This
your
is the
book, then
best of
how
the
can it be great?
best.
It's
If
to
you're going to be the best of the best, then that means what? You have to beat the best of the best. That's the only way you become a champion in sports is you beat the best team. That's why the greatest champions never say, "Oh, I'm so happy that I faced the worst team for the finals and I didn't have to
yeah,
face that really awesome team that would have really put
yeah,
up a competition." They want to beat the best out there. And when
yeah,
you don't put people up against the best, it's like, yay, I won. And should I have even been nominated? Maybe, but maybe I should have actually had a fight against somebody who actually deserved
yeah,
recognition of what they've done this year, because there's been some really amazing performances this year that got
yeah.
zero,
All right,
zero.
let's move on. We're still in the
Let's
first
go through
category.
categories.
Yeah, let's move through this. Okay, so any other movie you want to add that should have been nominated? We've already said which one shouldn't have.
Nope. We
All right,
said it. We said it.
perfect. All right, next we have actor in a leading role. We have Bradley Cooper from Maestro, Coleman Domingo, Rustin, Paul Giamatti, The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer, Jeffrey Wright, American Fiction. So
Mm-hmm.
those are your nominees. So Pete, who do you think will win? And then who do you want to win?
Cillian Murphy's going to win for sure. I mean, obviously, I don't understand why Coleman Domingo was nominated at all. I would have loved to see Nicolas Cage nominated for an Oscar for his role in Dream Scenario. I thought that was just
I didn't quite ask you that yet, but okay, we'll
it
move ahead.
was it was top of the pops. I didn't understand. I don't believe the controversy that I've heard about Leonardo DiCaprio not being nominated and that how it's such a big snub. He was not a leading role in this
Yeah.
film.
And we already
If
talked
you
about it.
just
Yeah.
if you
We
take
already.
that away, then you will agree with both of us. But
So yeah, so I have a little different. I actually think Bradley Cooper's going to win this one.
now I
You
want
know,
him to win. I want him to win, but he's not going to.
I think Cillian Murphy's deserve it. All these guys, the only one I haven't seen is Rustin, but I think all these guys are deserving of it.
I've seen
Uh,
it, and he's Coleman Domingo's very good. He's so good in this role. It's just not a really well done movie, and it just takes away from that thing. I mean, what Nicolas Cage did in that movie and the significance of that movie, it just
yeah.
overshadows it. Come on, Academy, what are you doing?
Yeah, and who I want to win wasn't nominated, so I'm kind of killing two birds with one stone. But Matt Damon for Air, I absolutely loved his performance.
He's
Uh,
so good.
Matt Damon just absolutely crushed that. But with the people that are there, I would say who I want to win, either Jeffrey Wright or Paul Giamatti. I really love both of them in their movies. I'm kind of leaning towards Jeffrey Wright because I really loved his character in that one, and it was definitely a little bit of a step outside of Jeffrey Wright's kind of other characters, so it's a little bit of a departure. Whereas
Yeah,
Paul Giamatti is a nuanced version of other roles I've seen. He's obviously an amazing actor, um, and he just has this gravitas to him. So again, I would not be upset at all if he wins, but I kind of
I
want Jeffrey Wright. He was the one where I kind of like laughed the most out of all these characters. Although Paul Giamatti was a close second.
sure. I mean, I think if any one of those four people outside of Coleman Domingo wins, I can make an argument why I would agree with it. But if Coleman Domingo happens to pull off the dark horse victory in this thing, I would be absolutely outraged. And that's not a knock against what he did in this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, next I have Beck. Wow. Next I have Best Actor in a Supporting Role.
Yes.
We have Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction, Robert De Niro, Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer,
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling for Barbie, Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things. So again, honestly, this I think is one of the better categories. I think all these guys are excellent and they are all deserving of this award.
It usually works out that way. The supporting actor role and the
Yeah.
supporting actress role, and
Jeez.
the supporting actor role and the supporting actress role, those categories seem to always be like the creme de la creme of
Yeah.
actors and actresses for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely going. Well, who I think and want are the same Robert Downey Jr. Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
I think I crushed it. Again, would not be mad if Ryan Gosling won it for Barbie or Sterling
Yeah.
K. Brown for American Fiction. I do actually think Robert De Niro does a great job in Killers of the Flower Moon. Same as Ruffalo, but yeah, I think it's Robert Downey Jr.'s to lose, and that's who I hope to win.
100% agree.
Yeah.
If RDJ doesn't win, it would be an outrage. However, if Ryan Gosling won, inside of me, I would be screaming up and down, and I would
That
be
would
wearing
be
pink.
cool and historic.
I would love it if Ryan Gosling won Best Actor in a Supporting Role at
I
the
want it
Oscars.
more for principle as opposed to Ryan Gosling, if that makes sense.
If he won, I would go bananas. I would
Yeah.
just go absolutely bananas.
And there's no, I thought they kind of did a great job on the nominees. I don't have another person. I'm like, oh, that person needs to get nominated.
No, supporting actor? No, no.
You know what movie I forgot is in this cycle because it came out so long ago is The Batman.
Was that for this year?
Yeah, it came out this year.
Stop it. No, no, no. That was last year because it got nominated for something, no? For visual effects or something. There's
Maybe
no way
you're right.
Batman was if the Batman was this year, then Best Supporting Actor would go to um the Penguin, who's my favorite actor right
Maybe
now.
you're right. Well, I'm gonna go to the next category. Pete, correct me if I'm wrong.
But now I got to do research. All right.
Well, take you a half a second. I'm gonna read
Okay,
off
okay.
the nominees.
Go on.
Okay.
Let me research in the meantime.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So next we have leading actress in a leading role, best actress in a leading role. Sorry, I tried to ad lib there a little bit and it failed miserably. We have Annette Bening for Naiad, Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon,
Yeah.
Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall, Carrie Mulligan for Maestro, Emma Stone, Poor Things. So, Pete, who do you think will win and who do you want?
What are we talking about? I was
Best
researching.
best actress in a leading role.
Oh, Best Actress in a Leading Role. Oh my gosh. Yeah. This is the second out of two absolutely horrific categories in this year's Oscars. Where the hell is Margot Robbie? Where is the person that gave you the greatest movie, the most money-making movie, and a brand transforming performance that we've ever seen? No Batman character, speaking of that movie, has ever generated such a change in somebody's viewpoint in a particular IP.
Well, the I mean,
Oh,
uh, uh, Penguin.
stop it. Did he generate billions of dollars worldwide because of his performance?
I think
No,
a billion, but
no. How much did Barbie make worldwide? It made
I mean,
almost
I get your point.
two
I'm
billion
not even arguing your
dollars,
point.
two
I agree with you.
billion with a B, with
No,
a
no,
B.
I agree with you. At the end of the day, I agree with your
Margot
point.
Robbie needs to be on this list 100%. And the fact that she's not on it is an absolute disaster.
Yeah,
Why? No offense. Lily Gladstone, fine. Carrie Mulligan, 100%. She crushed. Emma Stone, she's gonna win. We know it. They're gonna give it to fucking her every time. Sandra
yeah.
Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall, we know that she was gonna be on the list. No offense, Nyad Annette Bening had no business being on this list compared to what Margot Robbie did in this performance to that Barbie brand and to that character and to that movie and to cinema.
I'm all for Margot
And
Robbie being
this
on
is
it. I
absolute
think it's Sandra.
disaster.
To me, it's Sandra Huller that I would not that I would drop off. Not necessarily because
Nope.
of anything Sandra Huller did, but I just think
It's just the
Margot
fact that
Robbie's
it's not there is crazy.
performance is greater. And that Benny, and I've said this before, what she had to like again, part of acting is also what you have to put your body through in order to do it. It's Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant. Like again, sometimes filming, and you wouldn't know this because you're not an actor, Pete,
No, okay, but I'm also a
but what you
swimmer.
have to go through sometimes to prepare for the role does
I
matter
just swim
because it
every
leads up
day.
to your performance. And
I swim every day, and I'm not paid billions of dollars and getting nominated for an award because nobody's filming me swimming. It's a recreational sport, and I understand that she swam across an entire ocean. However, she didn't actually do that. She was
no,
acting.
but you have to train for that. You still have to
Okay,
train, do a lot, and
what
there's a lot of physical.
what
And then her
But
performance was
Annette
good
Bening,
too.
who I'm not discounting what she did at her age to swim a lot on camera. However, what she did versus what Margot Robbie did for Barbie, it should not even be an argument.
Well,
Barbie
again, I think your
replaces
arguments with Sandra Huller, not Annette Bening, because
no.
I think Annette Bening deserves more than Sandra Huller. But
I've
again,
heard more
it's
about what
subjective.
Huller did versus
I thought it
Nia.
was good, but again, again
Right.
we have to move it.
Yeah, I heard it was good. Great.
I
That's
actually think
not Oscar. Oscar
Lily,
is not. Yeah, it was good. Oscar's supposed to be the best.
yeah.
Margot Robbie is the best, and
Okay,
shame
so
on
that's who
the
but
Academy.
you think Carrie Mulligan's gonna, or I'm sorry, you think Emma Stone's gonna win?
Yeah, of course they are because it's a weird, silly role that only she could possibly accomplish. And I want Carrie Mulligan to win in the worst kind of way because I thought that her death scene was amazing, and I burst into tears, and it made me feel something I haven't felt in a long time. Um, but she's not going to win. They're going to give it to Emma, period. And
Yeah,
by the way, Batman was the last year.
okay. Yeah, I actually think Lily Gladstone's gonna take it, and that's also I want to win. I think she deserves it. I'm watching it again,
I feel like
and
they're not going to give it to her. I
I
feel like
really
they're going
just
to be
love
like
what
all
she
Emma
did.
Stone about it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. Can't argue there. Next we have actress in a supporting role. We have Emily
Yeah.
Blunt, Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks, The Color Purple, America Ferrara for Barbie, Jodie Foster for Nyad, and Divine Joy Randolph, The Holdovers. Um, so who do you think will win, and who do you think you want to win?
I my pick for the Golden Globes was Divine Joy Randolph, and I nailed that one, and I was like, yay! I totally got one right. And I think she absolutely deserves this one for sure. Um, I was happy to see America Ferrara get some recognition. I don't think that ultimately her performance was a Academy Award winning performance. I would have loved to have seen Penelope Cruz from Ferrari in her place instead, because I thought what Penelope Cruz did in Ferrari was so great. And I've said this before. Um, I think it's an absolute disaster that she's not nominated for that performance. She crushed that role.
Yeah,
But they're going to give it to Divine Joy Randolph, and they should, because that woman made me want to be a part of that film and wanted to keep me engaged because I wanted to see what she was doing and what she would say next. And she was captivating. Like I said in the Golden Globe show, I'm Team Divine for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm on the same page. I think she'll win. That's who I'm going for.
Hmm?
Would not be mad if America Ferrari won it as well.
Yeah.
I
How would
like,
you get Best Supporting Actors if Margot Robbie's not even nominated for Best Actress?
yeah,
That would
I,
be
li-
bizarre.
I like Danielle Brooks in her role, but it's really small.
Mm,
Like, and honestly, I thought even Taraji P. Henson had a bigger role than her. So, but not again, I thought she did a great job. Just I guess slightly surprised, but
right.
yeah, I can go with, but I'm with you on that one. Okay, next we have animated feature film.
Yeah.
In this category, special. We have The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
I know for me, I'll go first on this one because I feel like I know what you're gonna say. Um, I'm kind of with you on your Golden Globes one. I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles needs to be on this one. I mean, I've never even heard of Nimona. I don't even know where that movie's out. Like Elemental, sorry, that movie tanked. So
It's like you're
how in the world, if it tanked, is that even
did
on
you
here?
did you get my script ahead of time and you're just reading
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
That's why I said let me go first because I know exactly what you're gonna say.
Wait a minute.
And then I'm
Peter,
all
it's
for
Peter.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse being there. And there was one more animated film that I really liked that I wanted. Maybe you can help me out. But
I,
you didn't like that?
but no. Oh, just tell me what I'm thinking in my mind right now. I don't
No, because
know.
we talked about it before. That's why I was hoping that you could.
I know, but that's the whole point of prep.
Oh, Super Mario Brothers. Super Mario
Oh
Brothers.
yeah, Super Mario Bros. Was fantastic. It should
Yeah.
have absolutely been. I mean, I've never heard of Robot Dreams, to be honest, and I'm in
No,
animation.
never even heard of it. Like, I don't understand how these movies are getting nominated. I've never heard of them.
The Boy and the Heron I've heard about, and I heard it
I
was
saw it.
amazing, and then I didn't hear that it was super great. Elemental I saw, and it's like animated movies right now, I mean, they just get no respect. Like there is so much in
I'm
terms
fine with.
of like themes and heart and story and passion in animated films, and it gets nothing. It gets no recognition.
I'm fine with The Boy and the Heron being
Just
nominated.
give it to Spider-Man and just move on.
Yeah. Again, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Super Mario Brothers should have been on there. I'm good with The Boy
Turtle.
and the Heron nominated, even though I didn't love it, but I loved it more for its originality versus some of these
Ugh.
other films. But
I
Elemental
mean,
would not
being
be.
in animation, whenever the best animated feature film pops up, you're just like, God damn it. It's like, come on, man. Let's
Yeah.
move on. I'm gonna just go off for like 10
All right.
hours.
Next, we have directing. We have Anatomy of a Fall by Justine Triet. We
Come
have
on.
Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon. Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer. Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things. And Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest. So, since you're not even on screen.
I'm
Um,
here. No, I'm here because this is my number one angriest thing
I know.
that,
So I'll go
but go
first
ahead.
because I know you're going to go
Yeah, go
for a
ahead.
rant. So let me go first because you're going to go on a rant here. Uh,
I'm gonna do this.
I think Oppenheimer will win. That's who I want to win. I think obviously the biggest snub here is Greta Gerwig for Barbie, and I think the other
Thank you.
snub is Ben Affleck for Air. Those are my two. Again, I've already explained in other podcasts. Go see those if you want to hear
Thank
why.
you.
But I thought those easily zone of interest. And honestly, as much as I love the direction of Killers of the Flower Moon, part of the direction is, understanding theater releases and all that. Cut your movie down to 3 hours or whatever it needs to be to make sure that it works. But that's his biggest issue. Go ahead.
I'm absolutely outraged that somebody that can direct a movie that is the number one movie of the year globally, and who's a woman who actually broke every single record in terms of being a woman director,
Yeah.
is not actually nominated. She doesn't have to win this category because Christopher Nolan is going to win this award. 100% he's going to win. There's no way he's going to lose this. But the fact that Greta Gerwig was not nominated is an absolute outrage. And it makes me not even give a shit about this category. Alexander Payne for Holdovers should have been nominated
Yeah, that
as
was one.
well. The fact that
Yep.
Martin Scorsese, in his, no offense, one of his worst movies that he's ever put out is nominated. And The Zone of Interest and Poor Things, I get it, but we're talking about cinema, we're talking about storytelling, and we're talking about movie making, and what Greta Gerwig and what Alexander Payne and what Christopher Nolan and what Justine Triet
Ben
did,
Ben
what
Affleck.
they did this year was absolutely phenomenal. And the fact that you're going to lump in these other people into this category and ignore the people that should be there is an absolute outrage.
Yeah.
And shame on you. Shame on you.
I like what Justine Triet did. A lot of her choices I thought were
Fantastic.
excellent. She really made a great film, so I'm glad she's on there. But just her and Nolan are the only ones I'm like absolutely should be in there. The rest of them we already talked about. All right, next we have film editing. Uh, this is a joke of a category.
Yeah, I only
Uh,
left this in there because I wanted to hear.
yeah, as an editor, just an absolute
I
joke.
wanted you to
But
hear.
we have Oppenheimer. Well, let me read them in
Go
order.
on, Paul.
Anatomy of a Fall by Laurent Seneschal. I know I nailed that name. The Holdovers, Kevin Tent. Killers of the Flower Moon, Thelma Schoonmaker. Oppenheimer, Jennifer Lame. And Poor Things, Yorgos Mavropsaridis.
Attaboy.
Nailed. I crushed that
Way to
category.
nail that name. Boy.
um, well, yeah, there's a few films in here that literally are the opposite of what editing is.
Right.
Um, which also, again, I know that's
Oh,
also led by the director, but
Oppenheimer was edited very well.
oh, amazingly edited.
Long, but edited perfectly, right? Like it was a good
But
long
it
movie.
controlled pacing, it controlled your
Time,
emotions in a way, it
right? It
controlled
controlled time,
time.
like
Yeah,
where you
it
were.
like some of these times this is super off topic, but like I watched Memory yesterday, and it's just like there was no director there. I mean, the camera was just distant the whole time. There's no editing. Like there's a scene where she showers real quick, and it's just like she's rinsing off, and then they cut to her like clothes. And I'm like, what was the point of her in the shower? I
Right.
learned nothing about her. Like
Was
if she has wet
was it
hair, I
even
already know.
titillating at all, or was it
No,
just like literally a shot,
just like literally a shot, and it was
like a
just like
neck up?
so unnecessary. She had no
Thanks.
emotion in it. Super unnecessary. But my point is, again, editing, like some of that stuff gets cut out. And I know
Yeah.
obviously the editors don't have that kind of power. And this is not necessarily a talent issue. This is the director, most likely, or the producers, to be honest. But anyways, Oppenheimer should win this one with like no problem. Jennifer Lame did an amazing job, and I think that's who I want, who should. If somebody else gets it, Laurent Seneschal, very different style of editing, but I enjoyed it and I thought it worked. Or Kevin Tent, they had a very natural way of editing, very kind of almost documentary style, but I like what they
Right.
did.
I for editing, I mean, it's for me, it's obvious. I think Oppenheimer took a history course's worth of information and put it in a fantastic 3 hour movie that I was absolutely in love with when I first saw it, and I was in love with it for the year that it was promoted, and I've loved it ever since. So
Yeah.
there's no reason why Jennifer should not Jennifer, my pal, should
And
not
again,
get
it's
this.
really just pacing. Like to me,
Yeah, it's just
pacing's the most important thing when you're really talking about editing,
really well done.
because you have different shots, and it's like, do I keep the shot here? When do I change? Is there new information? All this good stuff you have to process. And I think that's where Oppenheimer again kind of stands out above, was a lot of information that they didn't hold on to 1 second longer than you needed, but also gave you enough to make you sit on things. So good job on that film.
Wow.
Um, we're just gonna Pete wanted to just talk about international feature film.
We
We're just
can
gonna rip
burn
them off.
through, yeah, we can burn through this next one. The international feature film. The only thing I wanted to acknowledge was the fact that Society of the Snow from Spain was nominated for an Academy Award, and I'm overjoyed that that actually happened because it was a fantastic
Yeah,
movie. I was gripped from the first instant, and I had to watch it in pieces because it was on Netflix and I could pause it. Thank God,
yeah.
because if I was in a theater, I would be a wreck. But
Check it out now. It's on Netflix. It's
yeah,
fantastic.
I love that that movie got acknowledgement. So that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But we have 10 Capitino. That's not even how you pronounce it. 10 Capitano. Perfect Days from Japan. Society of the Snow, Spain. Teachers Lounge, Germany. Zone of Interest, United Kingdom. There's our buddy. But yeah, if Society of the Snow got nominated Best Picture, I wouldn't have been mad.
No,
Music, original score, American Fiction, Laura Cartman. John Williams, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Killers of the Flower Moon, Robbie Robertson, Oppenheimer, Ludwig Göransson, and Yerksen Fendrick from Poor Things.
I thought this was interesting because did the Dial of Destiny, was that really worth a nomination for an Academy Award? I mean,
Can I be honest, Pete?
I love
I'm
Indiana
okay with it
Jones
because
music and I love John Williams. I
he,
love him. And
he
you
didn't win
know,
one for the original one, so if he can get one now, he deserves it. He
all
wrote
right,
the score at 90 years old, and it's still great.
all right,
Like
what's the over under on John Williams winning this year for best original score?
I think Ludwig Göransson will win, but I want
Oh
John
my
Williams to
God.
win.
Come on, John Williams. Let's go.
But Ludwig Göransson's score was the one that actually impacted me. I liked
It's the
Laura
only one
Cartman's
that took you on
score.
a journey, right?
Yeah, Robbie Robertson's score had some moments, but a lot of times I wish there was more. To be honest, I'm a big score guy, and I'm gonna go a slight little rant here on score. What I don't like, Steven Spielberg is the master at marrying score, images, and story, and I think he's super successful at that. A lot of people choose not to do stuff like that, but what him and John Williams did, I thought is absolute magic. But if it's like name a hymn or name a score, 99% of them are Steven Spielberg, John Williams score. Like I don't think that's an accident. You know what I mean? And it's like
Yeah.
I I don't know. So that's why I'm give it to John Williams. He didn't get I don't think he got one for the original one. So give it to him now. Dial of Destiny score was still great. I don't think it was as good as a Force Awakens score or even the Rise of the Skywalker score, which actually had new great compositions in it that you never heard before.
Yes, I know, but you're a Star Wars nerd, and
Yeah, but I'm saying there was
don't
still like very
don't push your Star Wars agenda on us, Paul.
all right, moving on
Get us
to
into that world.
yeah. Sound. This is a great category. I love this
It's a
category.
great one.
We have the creator, Ian. I'm not gonna read all the names. We have the
No, no,
creator, that team, Maestro, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part One,
yeah,
Oppenheimer, Zone of Interest.
right.
What do you got?
I mean, interesting. I mean, Maestro, I get why sound because it's, a very musical movie. I would have loved to see Ferrari on there because of what it took to make those sounds to do
Yeah,
racing, like auto racing. They're going to give it to Oppenheimer, but I love that Mission Impossible got a nod. I'm glad that the creator got a nod for
same.
sound.
I actually
Also,
like the sound of that movie.
yeah, the sound was amazing, and I thought the visual effects were also quite innovative as well. So I'm glad that Creator and Mission Impossible got some nods. So yay.
Same. I think Oppenheimer will win. Uh, not gonna be mad if it wins. Mission Impossible or Creator. I want one of those three to win.
That'd be amazing, right?
Yeah. Next visual effects. The Creator,
Yeah.
Godzilla minus one, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, Napoleon. So I'm gonna go first on this one because you went first last one. I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
give you my outside shot of the year. Pete, I'm going with Godzilla minus one. I absolutely loved the visual effects in this film. This
If
film looked so great,
right,
and I didn't feel like I was watching some CGI movie. I also love the creator, by the way. I thought the visual effects in that one looked fantastic.
sure.
The worlds look real. Everything was composited so well. How it was lit was fantastic. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. I actually loved it more for its special effects versus the visual because they did so much stuff practical.
Right.
Visual that was okay actually. I don't think I'm surprised it's nominated for visual because I didn't think the visual was as good as again the practical.
That,
And
that
Napoleon,
would
I
have been my
actually thought
argument. Sure.
Napoleon actually I thought looked pretty well, but I'm gonna go Godzilla minus one. Is I'm hoping that wins it, and I don't think there's a favorite per se in any of these three, but I would go Godzilla minus one. Creator number two.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I hope Godzilla wins. I don't think it will. I think they'll give it to the creator. I think Guardians was thrown in at the last minute. I think Mission Impossible, I think will suffer in a way because, you know, those a lot of those effects are real and so it's hard to lump that into a category where you're seeing a lot of really amazing things like you've seen in the creator. Like
Well, you still have to mask it all together. So remember, even though he
I
jumped
know.
off a thing,
I know.
there was no train below him. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I get that. I understand the process, and I know how they make a film.
So
I'm
even
just
though he had the balls to jump off a mountain, Pete, there wasn't he didn't actually have
yeah.
to also land on a
No,
train
it's true. He
at the
didn't
same
actually
time.
jump off a mountain. However,
They just said just focus on the mountain. We'll worry about the train later.
right. I just found it interesting in a way that this category specifically, like I just found it very interesting that a movie that was almost hyped to the point where it was supposed to be competing with in some way a Maestro or a Oppenheimer or Barbie and like Napoleon just like just dropped off the face of the earth in a way for the awards season just
Yeah, and I
disappeared
thought it was actually pretty good. Like you want to talk
completely.
about a movie I can
I
watch
didn't think it
tonight and
was
watch tomorrow
that
again.
bad. You know what I mean? Like
I saw it twice.
I only saw the shortened version. I didn't even like sit through the extended version yet.
I'm
Um,
actually looking forward to the extended version. I
and
really like that
me
film.
too. I actually enjoyed not only the film itself, but I thought the performances were amazing. And I'm really surprised that that movie didn't get a lot of love other than visual effects or sound or you
Jodie
know
Comer, actually, now you say it,
costumes.
Jodie Comer should have gotten some love. She was excellent in that. No, I'm sorry. Vanessa Kirby. Vanessa Kirby.
Thank you, Vanessa Kirby. Yeah, she was so good.
She should have gotten some love.
What a cold performance, and
I didn't
yet
know what she was thinking. Like she
showing an
just
immense
had me.
amount of support and loyalty to her husband and her best friend. You know what I mean? Like, wow, like what? Zero love. However, they're going to give it to the creator for visual effects.
Yeah, I would not be mad.
Not be
Next,
mad either.
I love this category, Pete. This is writing adapted screenplay. Well, I like both
Yeah.
of the categories, but we have adapted screenplay,
Gosh.
American fiction, Cord Jefferson. We have Barbie, Greta Gerwig, and Noah Baumbach.
Right.
Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan. Poor Things, Tony McNamara, and Jonathan Glazer, our boy, for the Zone of Interest. What do you got?
Come on. Oppenheimer's going to win this. It's the best screenplay ever. Barbie should win it because it was just groundbreaking in a way, but they're going to give it to Oppenheimer.
Yeah, honestly, because I know how many iterations I don't know exactly, but I know this movie went through a lot of iterations. I would not be surprised if Barbie won. Um,
Imagine. That'd be amazing.
but only because like you were saying kind of before, like to do what they did with this property, but I also think the same thing about Oppenheimer, to take so much information and still make a good story about it, still have characters like that. I think it's really tough. But I did an amazing job with the script. So I'm gonna go Oppenheimer, Barbie. The favorite being Oppenheimer.
Yep.
Next we have
Original.
original screenplay.
Screenplay.
We have Anatomy of a Fall, Justine Triet and Arthur Harari. Nailed that one. The Holdovers, written by
Crushing
David
their names tonight.
Hemmingson. We have Maestro, Bradley Cooper, Josh Singer. May, December screenplay, Sammy Birch. Past Lives, Celine Dion. Just kidding. See if you're still listening.
Clean
Celine
song.
Song,
I
yes.
see what you did, Paul.
Yeah,
You're fun.
I know. I'm so funny.
Yeah. This is Maestro all day, every day. If it doesn't win, it's crazy. Holdovers was phenomenal. Past Lives was very good. May, December. I'm glad it didn't get a lot of nominations this year for the Oscars.
I still have to
And
watch that, but you gave me
it's
zero desire to watch that movie.
it's the first half of the movie. You're like, are we done? No, we're
Yeah.
still going. Okay, cool. Let's see what happens. Performance is fantastic. Maestro needs to win this one for sure.
I think that's what will win. I would not be mad if the holdovers won
Oh,
or Anatomy of a Fall. Again, I really like how those were written. Holdovers specifically, probably holdovers a little bit more. I liked how the Anatomy of the Fall was directed more than the screenplay because I thought it was just very craftful. Just they would hold shots, the blocking, like everything. Like it was well crafted. So I think the directing was a little bit higher than the screenplay. Holdovers, I thought was a great script that, of course, Alexander Payne directed the hell out of as well. But
yeah.
the Holdovers had really good characters, and you really didn't know where this movie was going to go. So, again, you're talking about the basics. Like the script was great. That's probably my favorite over the
Right.
Maestro.
Cool, man.
All right, is that
Um,
it?
yeah, now that we've gone through all the categories, I will say that, I will bookend what I said at the beginning of this podcast, and I hope people will actually hear me at the end of this. There are amazing performances that just don't get recognized ever. Um, I thought Emily Blunt, who got nominated for Best Supporting Actress this year, I thought her best performance was actually in Pain Hustlers, and it wasn't actually in Oppenheimer. So I would have loved to see her be nominated for that. And I would have loved to see some love for Jamie Foxx or Tommy Lee
Oh
Jones,
yeah,
Burial. I thought The Burial was one of the best movies I've seen all year long. And I would have
I
loved to
like
see
that
Dua
movie.
Lipa get some love for Dance the Night Away on Barbie. And shame on the Academy this year. I will watch and I will enjoy it, but I'm not
Oh, I'm
happy.
not watching. I don't watch that.
I will
It's
watch
too.
it, but I'm not happy about it. But I will watch it. Shame on you. Where's Barbie and where's Greta?
It's
For
hard for me to
shame. For
watch.
shame.
Poor speeches sometimes. Like it's just not. I don't
I
want to.
don't care about the speeches. I
I
want
want to hear political
recognition
beliefs. I want to hear about the making of the film and what you had to go through to do it. I don't
on.
want to hear any sort of political speeches
I
from
I
anybody in
I expect
Hollywood.
more from you, Hollywood. I do.
Yeah, we talked about it before. Air, even going to original
Air.
adapted screenplay that should have been adapted.
God,
Uh,
man, Air was one of the best movies I've ever seen, not just of this year.
Even The
And
Covenant, I would like to
zero.
see again. Like you're talking about a great story that just needs to be told, but about what one person went through to save another man's life and then to pay it back. I mean, it's just a great story idea and then executed on the pages. And again, no love. We want to give these other movies loves that I'm sorry, the script isn't that great, but all good. Well,
We're not
Pete,
in charge, Paul, and the world would be a better place if we were, but we deal with what we can.
yeah. Well, we'll keep going away, guys. Soon maybe we'll be starting a separate podcast that will be detailing
Yeah,
uh, a certain project we're working on. It's starting to get
sure.
a little momentum, so stay tuned for that. But part of the genesis of this podcast is to talk about in all different aspects of film, and one of them
Chronicling of a story. Yeah, I love
I would
that.
love to talk about the direction or the process of getting films made, us
Sure.
going through it, all that stuff. You're catching us kind of in the beginning still. Well, not the beginning of our careers, but we've done different paths in our careers, and now we're going down a specific alley, and it's the hardest alley, and we want to discuss our adventures in it because maybe it'll help someone else figure out how to do this easier and better than we did it. So stay tuned for that. And then we also might do another podcast, Pete. I'm pitching to you live because I thought about the
Wow.
other day. But
Jesus.
I would love to break down because again, writing, I want to break down a script and then we talk about certain aspects of a script. But we'll pick a certain script and we'll break it down. What makes a great
Hey,
what
okay.
what
Well,
we would solve in it.
yeah. No, no, no. I hear you. And since you're bringing it up live for the first time ever,
Yeah, literally,
I would
dude.
say let's have a discussion about that one because
Yeah,
yeah, I
that
mean,
one's gonna take a little more work.
I like how you're thinking. And we'll discuss it.
We'll discuss it
Who
off
knows?
camera, not on camera.
Who knows what we can accomplish when we put our minds together?
Absolutely. Well, with that, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Please make sure you love, like,
Hey, I have an
share.
idea. We do this podcast where we play Russian roulette, and one of
Yeah.
us takes a bullet in the head, and
Yeah.
we'll die.
Our ratings will go through the roof.
And then
Thank you guys for joining us. And with that,
thanks,
Pete,
guys.
that is a wrap. Oh, before I forget that, it is, I don't know if you see it behind me. It's March 10th. So you got a whole month before the Oscars actually come out.
Oh, not a month, like 2 weeks.
No, it says March 10th.
Yeah, March 10th.
Graphic?
Oh, right. It's January. I thought it was February.
Yeah.
Normie.
Yeah. So you get a while to let this all sink in. So
in the meantime, Paul and I are going to put out 17 podcasts in the meantime.
Make sure you check them all out.
Yeah.
All right, guys. And with that, that's a cut. Thanks, guys.